Hello HoloLive players, welcome to the channel. My name is Camlange, and today we've got a bunch of announcements on the HoloLive official card game English account. This is a wide range of announcements. Some of this stuff we already know, but we get some clarification on Ayakashi Vermilion, including the start decks that are going to be rolled into that release. We will not be getting certain start decks again. We also got details on what Summer Hologram actually is. We get more than just a banner image. We'll talk more about what you can expect in that release. We got some cool updates around the Bloom Cup DX Final Challenge, as well as a letter from the producer of the game itself. So let's go ahead and just jump right to it. So first we're going to take a look at the Ayakashi Vermilion announcement. As was already announced, it will be releasing June 19th. But if we take a look at the official announcement article, you can see right towards the very end, we have an announcement that the cards from the Japanese edition start deck, Flow Glow, Chihaya, and Niko are joining the lineup, as they say. I think the last expansion where they did this, they called it an emergency entrance or something like that, but now it just joins the lineup. So you can see here all the cards that are exclusive to the Rindo start deck and the Niko start deck are now being folded into the expansion once again. So this is unfortunate news. I was hoping with the announcement of the Advent versus Justice start decks being confirmed to be releasing in the EN language that this might influence some of the other decisions around other expansions, but it seems like that's not the case. They made a special exception for Advent versus Justice, I suppose, just given the scale of that release and the popularity of those groups in the English region. So overall, let's just take a closer look at what you can expect from the Ayakashi Vermilion set. Of course, we have our new Oshi Holomem. We have Raora, we've got Riona, Iroha, Ayame, Akos Beelzu, Muna, Roboko-san, and Matsuri. With these Oshi, we're going to get some pretty significant meta changes. Iroha and Ayame especially are going to be very powerful, so those are two Oshi that I would definitely keep your eyes on when this releases. And if you're fans of those girls, you're going to be in for a good time. We also get new color variants for existing Holomem in the game. So Luna, who is typically a white Holomem, will now have a green variant. Mori Calliope, who is normally purple, is getting a blue variant. And Koganei, who's normally yellow, is getting a purple variant. Now, some of you may already know this, but in Ayakashi Vermilion, along with Iroha and Ayame, Koganei is going to be one of the best decks in format. They're basically the top 3 decks in the whole expansion. So these purple cards for Koganei are going to be a significant game changer. Also, the blue Mori Calliope change makes her much more viable. She's not top tier, but she becomes way stronger and a much more viable deck option. So I'm really excited to see that because I feel like they kind of did Mori Calliope dirty with her initial release. Felt like they put a lot of restrictions on her power scaling and the rules to be able to get to her power, and it just made it a slow deck that required a lot of resources. It's not a terrible deck, but I think she deserved better, and she's definitely going to be getting that with these new cards, so most certainly Deadbeats can look forward to that. And we know this already because we've seen this with dual color cards like Soraz and Fuomoko, but they do clarify that if a Holomem shares the same name, it can bloom into a version with a different color, so you can go from your yellow debut Koganei into a first yellow Koganei and then into your second purple Koganei. Here are a look at the signed cards for the set. Out of the 8 Oshi, we are getting 5 total signed cards, with Akos Beelzu having a English exclusive signed card, which is going to be a crazy item. We've seen the art for this already before, we've already known this, but still exciting to see it in the lineup. And of course, we have Matsuri, Ayame, Roha, and Raora as secret rares as well. Beautiful artwork and awesome signature prints. Oshi Holomem cards featuring Matsuri, Ayame, Roha, and Raora and Bei are extremely rare inclusions as secret rares. Yep, they are extremely rare, especially when you give us EN exclusives. Something else pretty interesting is that with the special cheers, they changed the look of those designs. Normally, we have kind of the large chibi style that takes the majority of the artwork. And with this, we still have chibi style, but it's a slightly different art direction. I think these are very cute. I honestly do like the look of the original special cheers. I think there's something fun about them. These are great too. I think I still prefer the previous art style, but I think it's cool that we at least have different options and they're doing different styles of print and exploring what they can look like. So definitely exciting, especially if you're a fan of any of these Holomem. I have a feeling the Raora special cheer is going to be quite popular here. And as of Enchant Regalia, we had HR rarity introduced. So this is basically taking those extra rule debut cards and giving them this premium print. Very glossy, embedded with really beautiful gold outlines. So we will be getting new HRs for Riona, Iroha, Ayame, Lamy, Mori, and Subaru. I love how these look, but they're also such a curse because you need to run so many of these typically in most decks because they're specifically doing these for the extra rule debuts where you can run anywhere from like 6 to 10 plus of these depending on your Holomem. And these are a pretty penny, so if you really want to max rarity your deck and your Holomem gets a HR debut, it really makes it much more challenging. I'm basically holding off on max rarity for my Narissa deck on the debuts for that reason, and I'm just going with the promo debut Narissas in the meantime, because man, it's painful, but they look fantastic, and I personally would love to get the Subaru one. I would also be very happy with the Mori Calliope one. I mean, I'd be happy with all these, but I think those two specifically would be my chase cards. And here's a quick look at some of the new cards we'll be getting. Some additional seconds and firsts for some of the holomem that have already existed in the card game, and especially of importance, we're going to be getting the card Bloom Stage. This is going to be a pretty significant card in the meta. What it does is it lets you draw 2 cards, then if your life is 4 or less, you may bloom one of your first holomem that bloomed from debut holomem this turn once more using a holomem from hand. This is a limited card, but it's very powerful, especially for decks like Maureen with her being on the art here, where she gets a lot of benefits from blooming. So it's a pretty interesting mechanic for accelerating your deck, for getting more seconds on the stage faster, getting your side blooms, etc. Some decks are really going to benefit from this card, and I'm really excited to see how this impacts the game. Also, I just want to call it this Slam Duck card with Subaru and Watame. So cute. I think this is hilarious that they went with their duo name and not just, you know, something more generic. This is hilarious. They've also confirmed which reprints we'll be getting for debut holomem, as well as some of the support cards. So we can see here, we have a wide variety of holomem getting reprints. I'm of course excited about the Shuba and Koganei reprints here. I'll definitely be getting my hand on as many of those as possible. I also prefer the updated art here for a lot of these in general, honestly. Some of the debuts have like the very static corporate art look to it, so these are a little bit more dynamic. I like the poses here. And we're getting some updated fan and mascot cards, so we'll be getting Robosur, Hoyoyo, and Lunites. I'm assuming the Lunites reprint will solve the problem of the errata card that we had in the previous expansions where Lunites just had the wrong print on it. So I guess this is a good way to fix that in some sense. We've seen this before, but the English release will also be including an alternate art card for Drawing Stream that's illustrated by Raora herself, which is extremely cool. And that brings us back to the start decks. Along with the Rindo deck, it also runs Vivi and Riona. Personally, I'm a big fan of Vivi and I really like Rindo, so I'm a bit bummed that we won't be able to get this as a start deck, but at least we're getting the cards in some way, shape, or form. And here's a closer look at the Niko and Sue cards. Interesting that only Niko and Sue in here, and then they kind of just shoved in one spot Riona card into this deck, but it is what it is. It doesn't even matter for us anyway, because we're just going to get them as general cards in the set. And as always, if you're interested in getting more of the details, I put the articles in the description down below, so you can take a look at all the different numbers of rarities and things like that. But for now, let's take a look at the other announcements. We got more details on what the Summer Hologram Booster expansion actually is. So as announced, it's releasing September 25th, but now we actually know what it's going to contain. There's speculation, and we kind of had an idea of what it would be, but this confirms it. So let's just go ahead and take a look. Get ready for a very hot summer this year, as HoloLive Official Card Game's very first Extra Booster Summer Hologram is coming to card shops near you. What is an Extra Booster? Extra Boosters are special pack products built around unique themes for each release, okay? The theme for this release is that summer spent with your Oshi. Oh my god. Get ready, guys. They're coming for your wallets. Most of the new and reprinted cards will feature summer-themed illustrations, so get ready to be dazzled by a shining sun and glistening water on the beautifully drawn illustrations. Oh my god. Whether you've recently started playing HoloLive Official Card Game or have been enjoying the game so far, this is a product we highly recommend. So yes, this does confirm that there'll be many reprinted cards in the set with new summer-themed illustrations, but there's also going to be new cards included, so I'm very excited to see how that's going to impact the game. This is going to be interesting because I think this set hasn't released anywhere yet, so the timing for this is going to be pretty weird because it might impact our meta in ways that we can't even predict. It could be good, could be bad, hard to say at this point, but it's definitely going to change things for sure. They also confirmed that Sora's Celebration is being reprinted, which is fantastic because that card is super valuable. You're guaranteed one Sora's Celebration per booster box. So for people who don't buy a case or anything like that, it can be challenging to get a full playset of these. You need to buy 4 booster boxes, or you have to buy the singles on the secondhand market, which get pretty pricey. So a reprint for that card I think is a really smart choice, and it's going to be great for players. They also say that card you've been hoping for might finally make a return. I have no idea what they could be talking about. Maybe it's just a teaser of like any card. It could be any card. It might make a return. But I'm gonna guess that it must be like a popular support card. We've already gotten a Swimsuit Nautica though, so maybe they'll reprint that again. I don't really know. Maybe a Swimsuit Mane-chan? That seems weird. I don't know. But we'll wait and find out and see what they could possibly be teasing here. And as we do know, with the new cards, there will be new Oshi cards for Sora, Marin, and Koyori. They'll get brand new Oshi Holomem as well as Holomem cards in new colors. So that's kind of exciting. I didn't realize they were going to be in different colors. And of course, brand new support cards are also included. Again, they have no idea how these are going to impact the game, so this is pretty significant. By combining these new releases with the reprinted cards, you can build entirely new decks using this product alone. So for standard rarity, there's going to be 102 types plus parallel cards with 121 unique cards, is what I'm interpreting that as. I say unique cards, but it sounds like 68 of those cards will be reprinted cards. They couldn't do one more. They couldn't just do one more reprinted. But those reprinted cards can range anywhere from Blooming Radiance all the way to Enchant Regalia, as noted here. So that's kind of cool. There's a huge pool for them to work with, so I'm very curious what the selection will be. And that's all the information we have at this moment for Summer Hologram. So let's take a look at our next article, which is about the Bloom Cup Final Challenge. This is pretty cool. We've already learned about the location, the event period, and we saw some of the prizing. They've updated this with a better look at some of the prizing that they didn't already show. We saw the Bloom Stage playmat, but now we see the Bloom Stage promo card. This is gorgeous art. I'm extremely jealous of everyone going. You get one of these just for participating, so if you qualified for Bloom Cup DX, you are guaranteed to get the Bloom Stage promo card, the playmat, as well as these new Bushi Navi Flare. You have the Flare with Ina and Bei, as well as Bibu and Cici. Kind of interesting that it's all EN Holomem on here. I wonder if that's because people from EN are going to be coming to Japan to compete. But either way, very interesting selection of Holomem. And for those of you who are going, I covered a lot of details in a previous video, but I'll link this article in the description as well. And I don't think they said start times previously for when the event would be. I think this information right here is new, so that may be valuable to some of you if you're planning on going. There's also some additional prizing, so based on how well you perform, you can get even more prizes. 3 wins gets you an additional copy of the promo card, and then 4 wins gets you 2 extra copies. So if you get 3 wins, you'll end up with a total of 2 copies of the promo card. 4 wins gets you 3 copies. And they have a closing ceremony commemorative card. At the end of the finals, all players who have participated in the tournament, including players from preliminary rounds and the closing ceremony, will be awarded an additional Bloom Stage. So it brings you all the way up to 4 copies. You get a playset if you manage to meet all these prerequisites. Now this is super exciting. They announced the top 8 prizing, and they originally showed us the art for the Mori Calliope card loader, but we get a better look at the card itself as well as a better look at the card loader. So if you make top 8, you will be getting this UR rarity foil treatment of the blue Mori Calliope second bloom. Really gorgeous artwork here. I love the details on the background. It complements her very well. The card loader is pretty cool too. I don't know what material it'll be made of, but even has a little top 8 stamp on here, so you can really flex on people with this. You can get a top 8 flare, so you can extra flex on people. If you make top 4, you get an extra copy of the promo card for Mori Calliope. I'm reading here, and I think this is just everything that's included. I don't think you get another card loader on top of that, unless I'm reading this wrong. But it seems like the only real difference from making top 8 and making top 4 is 1 extra promo card. And same thing for the finalists. So if you make it to the final round, you will get 3 promo cards. And if you are a champion, you will get a whole playset of the second blue Mori Calliope. This is pretty cool. I think this is a unique approach to giving players rewards based on how well they perform. It's expected for first place to get a lot of stuff, but I think it's kind of cool that not only does top 8 get a bunch of stuff, but if you do exceedingly well in top 8, you get even more stuff. And additionally, even if you don't make top 8, you get more cards for how many wins that you get. I think it's a really nice incentive. It's kind of a cool way to feel like that even if you don't perform as well as you would like, you're still getting something for your wins. And they definitely didn't have to do that. So I think that's a pretty cool idea, and it's a good look, and it kind of gives you a better reason to make the trek out there to compete. Oh, and oh my gosh, the champion gets their own Bushi Navi Flare. That is so cool. This is the ultimate flex. Only one person is going to have this flare. That is actually crazy. More tournament details are down below. I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's one thing we should talk about, which is the top cut selection method. This is very interesting. So basically the way that this works is the Oshi Holomem used by players who have won every game in the preliminary rounds will be referred to as the top cut selection Oshi Holomem. The following selection method will be used to determine players who get to participate in the final rounds. If the number of players eligible for the final rounds exceed the number of slots available, players will be chosen for the final rounds determined by the various steps stated below, giving priority to players who clear whichever condition that comes first. So listen to this. All players who have won every game in the preliminary rounds, players with 1 loss in the preliminary rounds and are not using the same card as a top cut selection Oshi Holomem, players with 1 loss in the preliminary rounds, and using the same card as a top cut selection Oshi Holomem. If there are multiple players with the same eligibility within the above stated conditions, a random method will be used by tournament organizers to determine which of those players will be selected to play in the final rounds. So basically, what top cut selection is, you have all of your players, of course, who went undefeated, they make the top cut, and then there's the next group of people who went 4-1 or whatever it is. Amongst those players, they will prioritize people who are using unique Holomem as their Oshi. So again, they show the example here, but let's say everyone in Top Cut is playing Narissa and Okayu. If you're in the next wave of players who are being considered for the Top Cut, if you were playing with the Suisei Oshi, you would get higher priority amongst other people in your same pool who made it to the same place as you using Okayu and Narissa. This is a very heated topic. I've seen a lot of opinions on this. On one hand, I think it's interesting that it's rewarding players who are trying to kind of go against the meta, but I also don't like that they're kind of giving players who are trying to play with the best decks a disadvantage. So it's a very weird trade-off. I think variety in games is always a good thing, but I don't know how I feel about forced variety. I think that should come through in game design and not by imposing these restrictions on players. But I would love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments. I believe this is a common thing amongst Bushiroad games. So you may already be familiar with this, you may already have strong opinions about it, but I'd really like to know your thoughts. And these are just the classic rules around extra turns, deck registration, etc, etc. And the last thing I want to take a look at today is the producer letter that was just released today, May 15th, from the producer of the HoloLive official card game. This is Reki, producer of the HoloLive official card game. Thank you as always for your continued support of the HoloLive official card game. I'd like to share a more detailed overview of what was announced at the Bushiroad English Conference Spring 2026, along with a look at what lies ahead. If you haven't seen that yet, I've also done a video on that English conference, so you can get the highlights there. I think there's some interesting takeaways we can get from this letter, so let's continue to look at it. Following the July 2024 release of the English edition, the user base has grown to approximately 3 times the size at launch. The number of monthly shop tournaments hosted at participating locations has also increased to 400 and continues to grow. We believe this achievement is the result of the combined efforts of our players who enjoy holoca daily, our supporting retailers, the creators who produce outstanding works, and above all, the members who continue to broaden their activities. We extend our sincere gratitude to everyone involved. So you're telling me there's a non-zero chance that the producer of the HoloLive official card game has seen some of my videos? If you're watching, hi Reki, thank you so much. I really appreciate your kind words. I love your game. Reki goes on to talk about some of the special cards that we've been getting in EN, such as the April release of Enchant Regalia. We implemented initiatives tailored to the English edition, such as adding a secret rare for Narissa Ravencroft. Yeah, I know how that goes. I know all about that card. We will keep rolling out new plans to better serve and excite HoloLive fans and players. For example, in this upcoming June set, Ayakashi Vermilion, we've invited Raora to create card artwork for the English edition, which will be featured as a special card in the release based on the co-creation concept at the heart of the HoloLive official card game. We'll continue working together with our talents to bring you exciting new projects, so please look forward to what's to come. I think they're kind of playing on the collab element here. That's cute. We've already seen this roadmap in the English conference video, but if this is new to you, you can see from June to October, they have the slate of releases that we can anticipate. And the biggest thing that we noted here was that Summer Hologram is slated to release in September. Ayakashi Vermilion is coming out in June, and there's no other expansion listed here, which is kind of odd because we've been on a 2-month release cadence for our set, an accelerated release schedule from Japan so that we can catch up with them on the same releases. But Summer Hologram is 3 months away from Ayakashi Vermilion, and there's no mention of Diva Fever at all, which would be the next set following Ayakashi Vermilion. Let's see if they have anything more to add here. At the Bushiroad English Conference Spring 2026, we unveiled our roadmap. While it covers plans through October 2026, we are of course preparing numerous initiatives beyond that, including for 2027 and onward, to showcase the appeal of HoloLive talents and further energize the holoca community worldwide. In addition, for 2027, we're planning a large-scale tournament separately from the currently running Bloom Cup DX Challenge Series. I'm excited to learn more about that. That is cool. Thank you for taking the time to read through to the end. You're welcome. As players bond over their favorite Oshis and share smiles while playing, our entire team will keep pushing forward with everything we've got to grow the special sense of community that defines holoca. We sincerely appreciate your ongoing support of the HoloLive official card game. Well, thank you so much, producers of the HoloLive official card game. I really like your game. The people watching this video probably really like your game too. I hope they do. I hope it's working. And it's really nice to see the efforts that's going in to specifically cater to the English release audiences. I think it's great how many additional resources they're putting into giving us things to look forward to and some special releases that we otherwise wouldn't have gotten. I do feel a little bit bad for the players in Japan who don't get the same English exclusives as us. We're also not getting certain things that they do, so I guess in a way it kind of balances out. But either way, seeing the transparency and them being very vocal about what their plans are is exciting to me, and I can't wait to learn more, especially more about this new large-scale tournament that they're talking about. With all that said, that was a surprising amount of news that took longer than I thought it would, but thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing to the channel, and maybe even ring that bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. I love HoloLive and I love card games, and that's all I yap about in this channel. And hopefully we can get more and more people excited about this game. We can continue to show the producers our support. And you know, you can support my channel if you want. But even if you don't support my channel, you don't like my channel, that's fine. I just hope you find the game and you enjoy it and you have a lot of fun with it and you meet your local community. There's a lot of great people out there who play HoloLive, and I'm very grateful to all of you who have been subscribing and watching me so far. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Bye!